Thank you. And thank you for inviting me here. It's been a very inspiring day so far, and we've heard a lot about garments and products and things to wear when in nature. And I will talk to you a little bit about the people who need to wear these clothes, but maybe don't do it today. To say a little bit about myself, my name is Haaken. I work as a senior advisor in adventure tourism in Innovasjon Norge in Oslo, doing strategic and positioning work for Norway as an adventure destination. And very brief introduction to tourism to you. The largest segment in tourism is adventure tourism and active tourism. And this is also the segment that grows the fastest. This gives us some opportunities and some challenges. And I will talk a little bit about especially the challenges that we see. So, when we talk to tourists in Norway, what they think about Norway when they come here is that we have fantastic nature, we have natural beauty, we have unspoiled nature, fjords and mountains. And they also say that we are well organized, we are fun, we are expensive, as you know, and we are safe. And this is well in line with the brand that we put up on Norway internationally, which is Norway, powered by nature. This also plays a little bit on the Norwegian friluftsliv culture and the friluftsliv history. We are grown up with a relation to nature, and we have the pioneering history with all the, like Børge Ausland and the other polar explorers. We are powered by nature. So, when hiking in Norwegian mountains, which is a very growing, fast-growing activity, it's not a walk in the park. We Norwegians have grown up with utedo, the outdoor toilet in the cabin, where you have the mountain code, fjellvettreglene, underneath the kronprinsparet. We have watched Severin Suveren on the TV before Easter. But the new tourists that come here, they don't have this background. Some of them do, many of them don't. Urbanization, which is largely upon us now, leads to alienation of nature. So people growing up in big cities in Berlin, New York, Shanghai, their relation to nature is maybe from a park, and that's it. That's a challenge. And we get new equipment, innovation, we have seen that today, which opens new terrain. We get new legislation. The new friluftsmelding in Norway opens up our national parks in a totally different way that we have seen before. And active tourism activities can now be done all over the place, also inside the national parks. So, what does this lead to? I will show you a short film. This is from Trolltunga, 27-kilometer hike, 1,100 meters upwards. It's a tough hike, and this is a film from an American tourist, Ashley Desi, from June this summer.
Okay, let's try this one more time.
Turn your back, yes. When it turn your back. When you see it.
Okay. Yes. Where are they? Can you see them?
Wait.
Come on. Well, oh my gosh! Holy cow!
It ended well. Ashley and her friends went with a helicopter down to Odda, and they were back there 2 weeks later, and they did the trip and made it all the way to Trolltunga. When they were found, they were 6 kilometers off the trail, and they were not dressed for fog, rain, or wind. So, let me introduce you to some of our new explorers, our new guests to Norway, and to Scandinavia, and to other more mountainous destinations. And this is just an example. These new tourists come from all over the world. And like I said, many of them grow up in cities, and nature is sort of alienated to them. This group is probably from Asia. They are dressed for a city stroll, sneakers, jeans, umbrella to protect them against the sun or the rain. They spend a couple of days in Oslo here at the Vigeland Sculpture Park, taking their snapshots, their selfies and everything, and they have a long bucket list. And on that bucket list is also the Pulpit Rock, Preikestolen, Trolltunga, Bergen, and Lofoten probably. And what happens? 2 days later, this is not the same group, but it's an illustrational picture. They're from Asia, still dressed in jeans, sneakers, umbrella, a small poncho to protect them against the heavy rain, on their way to Kjerag, which is a pretty heavy mountain hike in Norway. 6 to 8 hour hike. They were stopped, by the way. Even though we have the right to roam in Norway, these people were stopped. They were not allowed to go there by the barking dog at the parking lot. This is a challenge for us, because these are going to grow. This kind of tourism is going to grow fast. And it's all due, not all of it is due to the selfie challenge, but a large part of it is due to the selfie challenge. Many come here because they have seen the pictures in Instagram or Facebook, and they want their picture taken on the same place. And in Trolltunga, which is, like I said, 27 kilometers in return, it's a heavy trip. And if you come from some country in Asia, India, somewhere where it's warm, and you're used to wearing sari and sandals, maybe that's all you have. And you come here and you have 1 day in Odda, and you're going to do the hike. And it creates some problem. We do see now an increase in visits to places that used to be visited only by experienced hikers. And these new tourists are not really experienced in hiking these kind of trips. So this is the statistics of visitors to Trolltunga. If you see 2010, there were about 1,000 hikers visiting the mountain peak. Last year, there were 90,000 people there. 85% of them were from foreign countries. And the situation has led to an increase in rescue operations. 42 rescue operations last year. 85% of these were of people that were not actually in danger. They were cold, exhausted, hungry. They didn't really know what they were up to. And 82% of these, again, are foreign tourists. So we ask ourselves, can we avoid this situation? Can we do something to avoid this? And tourism in Norway has joined forces. But let's first get into another challenge that this growth in tourism leads to. And that is the wear and tear of our nature, of our trails. Because what happens when these people start hiking on this trail and it gets muddy, and you start walking on the side of it, and it gets wider and wider. So we get erosion. Some places have had Sherpas now building sustainable trails that are really good, but many places don't. In addition, we do see what we call over-tourism in some places, which means that you have too many people at the same place at the same time, which again does something to the local population, the local community, the local society. And this is all a very interesting challenge for us to look at how can we communicate to these new cultures, these new tourists, both for them to stay safe, that's the first point, for our nature to stay safe, or to preserve our nature, and for the local societies to be safe and not be overused. So we went together with a lot of other tourism companies and stakeholders in Norway to do this project that we started off this summer, and we call it Safety First. And it's safety for the tourists, and it's also safety for the nature and the local population. So this is all about sustainability. This is an example of our packing list that we made. What we did was we created 8 films for summer hikes in Norway. Safe summer hikes. Short films, as we say in Norwegian, få det inn med teskje. What do you need to bring? What do you need to wear? What do you need to eat? What's the weather going to be like? What's the length of the trip? Are there guides available there? And the films are made in 13 languages. It's in English, but it's subtitled in 13 languages. So if you open this film from China, it will be in Mandarin. If you open it from France, it will be in French, and so on. I'm going to show you now an example of the films. It's from Trolltunga.
Spectacular views and beautiful photos are some of the reasons why people from all over the world come to hike Trolltunga. My name is Johannes and I work as a nature guide in Norway. The hike up and down is 23 kilometers and it takes about 10 to 12 hours to complete. You should therefore start the hike no later than 10 a.m. Trolltunga is located at 1100 meters above sea level. This means that temperature and weather can be very different at the top compared to the start. This is a very challenging hike. The hike is only possible to do between March and mid-October, preferably with a guide. If you wish to hike without a guide, this is only possible between June 15th and September 15th. This is the period where we expect the snow to be gone. To ensure an unforgettable hike, please be prepared. Use sturdy hiking boots and save your sneakers for city walking. Jeans don't belong in the mountains, as they can get both cold and wet. Use wind and waterproof pants and jackets. Warm clothes are essential, as it's always colder at the top than the bottom. Also, make sure that you have enough food and drinks with you for the whole hike. If you are uncertain about what to bring, please check out our packing list. When hiking to Trolltunga, always make sure you have an extra day. You never know what the weather will be like. Do not hike in uncertain weather conditions. Before you start the hike, check out the weather forecast and make sure that you are prepared for a weather change. Make sure you exercise before you hike to Trolltunga. The safest thing to do is to join a guided tour. There are good guides around Odda and Skjeggedal. If you do wish to hike on your own in the summertime, make sure you stick to the marked path. Do not follow groups that hike on their own. This is the reason why our rescue teams are so busy. Be prepared and have a safe hike.
So, these films were launched by the end of June this year, and so far we've had almost 600,000 views from all over the world, except from China, because they are not on YouTube and on Facebook, so we need to solve that in some way. The guide, Johannes, he is now being recognized when he's on his guided trips in Preikestolen and in Trolltunga area as that guy from YouTube. So he's become kind of a celebrity. We did this in June, and there's a big project in Norway now called Nasjonal turiststi, which at the same time puts some money into initiatives to solve the rescue operation problem. So they put up some emergency cabins and mountain hosts being in the mountain to help the tourists while they're there. And luckily, and I'm really glad to see that the rescue operation number on Trolltunga this year has been half of what it was last year. So this really works. But the problem is not solved totally, because for the next 10 years, futurists say that tourism globally will increase by 1 billion travelers. India and China are opening up. Chinese people can now get passports, they have money to travel, and Norway is on top of their list. So, many of those who are going to come here in the future are unfamiliar with our kind of wild nature. They are used to walking in parks on gravel roads, but not used to the kind of traveling and hiking that we have. And we have the same goal as you in the outdoor business. We want people to be safe. We want them to go out into nature and come back safely and have sustainable and safe adventures out there in unspoiled nature. So what we want is to join forces with you. Can we see tourism and the outdoor businesses together? Can we communicate safety, sustainability together? That's our sort of our wish for this speak, and I'll be here also afterwards, so you can contact us if you want to join a workshop where we can sit down together and see if we could do this together. Maybe we can position Norway as safe and sustainable, taking care of our guests. That will be profitable in many ways. So this is our new brand positioning statement for Norway. We want this, we're going to merge this with a tourism brand, which is Norway Powered by Nature. And we hope that you will be joining forces with us to lift this brand up into export, into tourism, into building Norway as a sustainable destination in many ways. We can stand together around the pioneering aspect, around the friluftsliv concept, which is being adopted now from the States and from England as the new mindfulness. And we have the same goal. As I said, we want people to get out into nature, have safe and sustainable adventures. So maybe we can stand together, take the hike together, do the workshops together, communicate together. If we also can get the transportation business, the accommodation businesses, all sit down around the same table, develop some kind of a communication concept that we can really build around Norway and the Norwegian brand, I think that will be profitable for all of us. So if you want to join us, please contact me. Here's my email. I'll be here, as I said, later on as well. And thank you for your attention.